And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Words I Choose to Live By here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. And we are less than 24 hours away from one of Amazon's biggest shopping events here, and that being Prime Day. So I hope you guys are following us here on Amazon so you don't miss anything. We have some great shows coming up, some great items for yourself and your family and friends, as well as some great books that I'm helping to recommend. So if you guys have not hit that follow button already, you know what to do. You'll see it either here in this corner or down below. Here at Words I Choose to Live By, as you know, every week we are joined by my co-hosts, Dr. Velma Bagby, Melissa Banks, and Tina Siemens, discussing the week's messages. And today is no different. Nita, hello to you. Nita's joining us on Amazon. Thanks for the follow, Nita. I appreciate that. We are simulcasting our broadcast, so we welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. Dr. Norma, we see you over there on IG, but how's everyone doing today?
Wonderful.
Good.
Awesome.
Good. Glad to hear it. Well, for those who have been joining us, we're in week number 41 from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. You guys will see it highlighted in the carousel on the Amazon side. It's available in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle. But as I mentioned, we have a weekly message to kind of get you started for the week, and then there's messages for every day. But week number 41, the message is a good one. Let your light shine. And it's on page 121 for those of you who have the print edition. It says, the only way that evil wins is if you give up on the power of good. Stay focused, stay prayerful, and remember that you were created for greatness. And this is something that I've had to grow into, because as someone who didn't always see my place in the world or see how I can make a difference or an impact, I would read the scripture that talks about your light, but I wouldn't necessarily know what that was. But now that I've been able to embrace that and realize that all of us have that ability to make a difference, it really has helped me quite a bit. And I hope that's something I've been able to share in my platform as well. So Dr. Velma, you're going to kick us off for this. How has it helped you to know that you have a light that needs to be shined?
First, to discover that I have a light, making sure that I acknowledge that the light of God is in me. And so when you said, as you read, evil will win when we give up. We gave up before we discovered who we were. We were in a position of giving up. We weren't even active. Our light was hidden under a bushel, as the scripture tells us. We hid it until we were able to discover the light that is in us, the calling upon our life, the fact that we're not on this road by ourselves. And this thought is based on Matthew 5:16, that he tells us to let our light so shine. He commands us to do it because the light that's in us is his. And so what we've been called to do, he's blessing as we move out in the assignment that we have. And when we stop, or we're afraid, or we allow evil to win, or we sit in our feelings, or we refuse to move, or when we're fearful, then we allow the enemy to win. We allow the evil to win. But it's important for us to know that we have that light, and he tells us to let it shine. So I don't have to apologize for talking about godly dating. I don't have to apologize for talking about godly marriages. I don't have to apologize for any of that, because that's my light. That's the light he's put in me and the assignment he's given me, and that's the call I have. But I'm telling you, in the beginning, I didn't know how to let it shine. I didn't even know I had a light. I didn't know the assignment. I didn't know how to move forward. And that's a learned position. You have to grow into that. As we talked before the segment, we have to grow into what God has given us to do.
Yeah, such a great thing. I want to say for those on the Amazon side, and I appreciate all of you guys coming in there, you will notice as each one of the co-hosts is talking, like when Dr. Velma was talking, you see I have her book highlighted there, the Wrong Catch. You will be able to see as we're going throughout, we'll have their books toggled so you guys can be able to see the books of the co-hosts. I appreciate you getting us kicked off there. Hello to you, Kenneth, over on Facebook. Good to see you. Aretha Thomas, hello to you over there on IG. Glad you could be with us as well. Tina, I'm going to go to you, and we're going to highlight your book, Seminole. Some people never give up there. How has it helped you to know that, one, as Dr. Velma was saying, you have a light, but also the importance of making sure it's shining?
Well, for me, I think it has always been finding the niche. Like, I have so many interests across the board, but finding the place where I shine the brightest is a trial, and so often it may not be right in front of us. but we have to find like the switch. If we're in a brand new home in the dark, we don't know where the light switches are, so we have to go search. We have a general idea where the light switches are, so every one of us has to find the light switch in me. And I think, like Dr. Velma said, her writing about marriages, I have found my light. And when I talk about history, when I am in my element, then I shine the brightest. And so Mr. Edmund Burke says the only thing necessary for triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And if each one of us does just a little bit good where we are called to do, where we are called to shine, then our light will really be visible, and not covered under the bushel, like the verse that Dr. Belma read out of Matthew. So I'm just grateful that each one of us has been given the opportunity to look for that light. And once we discovered, then we have zero apologies or zero excuses not to let it shine. We make ourselves responsible then to make our light shine. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, such a great thing. Kenneth says, no apologies needed. Let your light shine among men and women. And it's such a great thing to know that that's something that is possible for sure. Melissa, what about for you? What has it been like for you to understand and appreciate that you have a light and the importance of letting it shine?
I think that's the key. It was recognizing that I had a light. And this makes me think about this month being Domestic Violence Awareness Month. See, I believe that it all starts in your mind, and you've heard me say that so many times. I went through years and years of domestic violence, hearing that I didn't have a light, hearing that I was not good, hearing that someone else controlled me and controlled what I said, what I ate, what I watched on TV. So no, I didn't feel like I had a light. I had to learn that. I had to be aware of that after that season, when I started looking into myself, when I started connecting with my faith, and knowing that my light was there the whole time, even though I was hearing all of this stuff poured into me. And once you hear it over and over again, you believe what you're hearing. It becomes who you are and part of you. So I had to unlearn. I had to learn what shows I liked on TV. I had to learn how to speak to other people, not in public, but in one-on-ones. I still didn't know how to do that. And I had to recognize that there was something within me that was worth showing. It was worth the light coming out. I had to learn that. So it's not automatic. It's a process, and it's a long process to just rethink, to take all of those negative things that have been poured into me and replace them, not just take them out, but replace them with something good, to be where I am now, to be able to sit on this show and encourage and inspire someone else who hears my voice, because my voice has something to say. I'm here because I have something to say. I'm here because I do have a light, and my light is shining, and I choose to listen to that voice, because it's the voice that you listen to. So now I get up even on a bad day and know that today I have it within me. My light is shining in every single situation, whether it's a normal everyday task or a task like this morning, to inspire and encourage. So you have a light. You just have to lean into that light, and that's the voice you choose to listen to, so that evil doesn't win.
Yeah, such a great point. Triple Access Media, hello to you over there on IG. Good to see you. Let's see, Kenneth says, God is in complete control. Some do not believe, others can walk with recognize in due time. And I think that's the thing, I think what all of you said is so important for our audience, and that is to realize, for one, that it is yours. It's not something you have to ask for. It really is up to you. And I love that analogy that Tina used, because it's just, you just have to turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you have to do. You just have to turn it on. I also, going back to Tina, though, if we go into the second part, I also feel in this message, though, the only way that people win is if you give up on the power of will. So, Tina, I will say this, and I'm going to address it to everyone. We live in a time where everyone does not want the best of us, right? We don't all think the best of the situation. The question becomes, based on this message today, what is it that helps you not to give up? We talked about the importance of letting the light shine, but on those days it's not easy. What helps you, Tina, not to give up?
I think for me, it has been such a long process. When my dream of opening up the museum here in Seminole, Texas, was a 20-year dream come true, and for me, I think so often the answers to our prayers are around us already. We just don't recognize it. And I was like, I remember the moment so specifically. It was between Christmas and New Year's of 2022 that I prayed, Lord, if 2023 is the year that I can open the museum, make that a reality, then let me find a building. And as I was praying, the Lord said, you already have it. We had moved out of this space in October of 2022, and it was now sitting empty. We utilized a room here and there, but it was the space that, and the Lord just said, start with what you have. I always dreamed I had made this massive plan of a 20-acre place and the buildings. I've drawn the plans. I have the blueprints for the plans, that the way I hope to have the museum one day. But he said, start with what you have. And so often we think that we have to have it perfect. But if we start with what we have and then build on that, then that's where the Lord will be able to shine through us, because it's in this trial that we learn valuable lessons to shine. And so for this space that has become the museum, it has been such a bright, shining light in my community and in my own life, to be able to stand there and tell people, this is what this item is. Is it ideal? No, it's not ideal with the way the world would think a museum would be set up. But I started, and that is the key. So often is you just start with what you have and then build on it.
Such a great point. Kenneth is correct. You are the blueprint. I think that's a good. Thank you so much for sharing that. Melissa, I'm going to go to you next. One thing you've talked about, of course, is how your business changed and drastically was transformed in 2020. Whether we're looking at business or at life, as I was saying to Tina, none of us have the perfect circumstances all the time. The question becomes, though, for you, what is it that helps you not to give up?
Oh my gosh. You know what helps me not to give up is to, first of all, wake up every single day in gratitude. This is a powerful question. It was one I was actually speaking at an event. I wake up every day. I don't care what the bank account looks like. I don't care how many no's I'm getting. I don't care how bad I feel. If I begin my day in gratitude, because I just believe there is always something to be grateful for. And I get up every day and I'm just grateful for what God has already done, not what he's about to do, but what he has already done. At that point, I begin my day there. And what keeps me going is reminding myself of who I am. You hear me say it all the time. I have to remind myself of who I am, so that the voice in my head is telling me who I am. And that keeps me going. It's the voice in my head saying, I don't care what it looks like. You're going to make it, and you're going to make it big. I don't care what it looks like, because that dream in your heart, it's going to happen. I don't care how long it's been, your dream is still going to happen. I have conversations, and sometimes out loud, don't tell anybody. I have conversations in this house by myself that reminds me of who I am and what it is that I'm going to do. And that as long as I hold on to that, as long as I make quitting not an option, as long as I says, no, you're not saying no to me, because I got a yes. And I got that yes at the beginning 20 years ago, and it's still going to happen today. And I believe that's what keeps me going every single day through every single situation.
Such a great point. Did anyone else hear Melissa say that she talks to herself?
Nope.
That's not unusual.
Hey, look, I want to remind everyone this show is recorded.
It's affirmation, Cyrus.
Affirmation.
I tell people I can't say anything. I talk to myself and answer. So I
do the same thing.
I can't say anything, but people expect that of me. They may not expect that.
Well, look in my window, and you're probably wondering, who am I talking to? I'm talking to God.
Hey, that's a great segue to you, Dr. Velma, because the question is the same to you. We all have established we have that light, right? We're going to let that light shine. But there are those rainy days. There are those hard times. What is it that keeps you from not giving up during those times, Dr. Velma?
Well, there's different kinds of hard times. There's hard times based on you and you're stepping back and you're standing still. You're being fearful of what you've been given to do. That you can create that, and that becomes a hard time for you. It's difficult for you to move from that spot and believe in yourself. That's one. And then there's in your statement, you talk about that the only way that evil wins. Evil is always there trying to chip away at whatever we've been given to do. Evil hates light. And so wherever light is, you can expect some challenges to come. And we know where the challenges are being thrown from. We know who threw the ball. And so we have to be prayerful and be aware of what happens. But let me say something to what the ladies have already said, and that is, I didn't understand this calling upon my life. Look, I was ordained as a minister at a time when women weren't welcome in the pulpit. I stood on the floor. They wouldn't let me go into the pulpit. I had to stand on the floor and speak a message. And I remember saying to God, God, you called me for this. Whatever you've given me as an assignment, if I have to stand on the floor holding my Bible or without giving any opportunity to, they gave me one of those little thin, wimpy stands to put my Bible on. It felt like my Bible was too heavy for it and it would fall down a bit. And I just said, I don't care. If you've given me a message, I'm going to speak it. And so when it came time for me to begin talking to the believers about godly dating, something we have just fallen off the rails with in the church, outside the church, I said, God, this is a big problem. How am I going to speak about this? And who do you want me to speak to? And God just reminded me of my charge. I've been blessed with 50 years in marriage. I've been blessed to turn 70 this year. Who else but a Titus 2 woman can talk to others about what they should be doing? Because I've been down that road already, and I know what we used to have as our structure in preparation. So I just want to remind everyone that evil is always present. So we have to be mindful of who we are and what we have been called to do. Like Melissa said and Tina said, stay on the path and stay focused. I was terrified in the beginning. I was nervous. The genre was flooded with other books on the same topic. And I'm going, well, why do I have to talk about it, Lord? You already have all those other books out there. He said, but I blessed you with these years of marriage. I blessed you with your knowledge that you've been given about the struggles for single women and men. I blessed you, so why don't you talk about it? So it's not about arrogance. It's not about pride, not about self-righteousness. It's not even about who's bigger or better than you. It really is about your voice and the audience that God has given you to speak to, and you carry the message no matter what.
Such a great reminder, and such a great reminder for all of our audience here. Again, to recap quickly, the idea of remembering that you have a light, but it's up to you to let that light shine. God is not going to make you shine. It's up to you to make that decision to be able to do it for sure. So with that being said, Melissa, we're throwing it to you. What advice would you give to our audience based on this topic about being able to let their own light shine?
Well, I go back to something Dr. Velma just said. She said that evil is there. Evil is always going to be there. It's going to be that voice that says, you know what, you can't really do this. You know what, you've been trying so long. You know what, you've been believing so long and it hadn't happened yet. You need to let that go. Evil is just doing its job. Mm-hmm. Its job is to create the doubt. Evil's job is to cause challenges that seem too big for you to move forward. But what your job is to lean into what you already know. Lean into your light. Lean into the fact that you get to choose. The choice is yours to lean into your light. Let your light shine wherever you go. And every single day, remind yourself that you have a light and it's going to shine. Every time the enemy shows up, every time you hear that negative, because he's just doing his job, then you do the job that God has in store for you, and you focus on his word and your beliefs, and you keep going. Don't take no for an answer. Refuse to take no for an answer, and keep going. As long as you keep going, you will win.
All right, Dr. Velma, what would you say to our audience about the importance of letting their light shine?
Don't focus on the external. Don't look at what things look like for now. You don't know what God has on the other side of your saying yes to what he's giving you to do. Your job is, like Melissa said, is just accept it. Just move forward. And if you're not familiar with the genre, or you're not familiar with the space that you've been given, and this is all new to you, then do your research, do your due diligence, find out what you need to know about how to move forward. Like Tina did. She had property to start her museum and didn't know she had it already. Do your research and find out what it is that you need and how to move forward. But the goal is start moving.
Yeah, start moving. That's the big thing. Tina, what about for you? What would you say to our audience about the importance of letting their light shine?
Well, one is never give up. If we today feel like we might have backslidden a bit, find that traction and just take another step forward. Sometimes we may not do a mile a day. We may just do one step but walk in place then. Just keep moving. And for me, my subtitle of Seminole, Some People Never Give Up, I know that God put that subtitle not for the world so much, but for me. Every time I feel like, oh, I can't do this, or I just feel like it's too much that I need to physically do and emotionally do, but then that subtitle brings me back to reality. I have a light and I want to let it shine. And the darker it gets around me, the better my light is visible. So in the world that we live in, there's so much negativity and so much darkness. But if we allow our light to shine and even hold it up higher, if we have a lampstand, then there's a much bigger space that is lit up with our smile, or just a kind word, or a text or a phone call, email, just whatever way we can to make somebody else's day better. Don't focus on my own hardships, but rather put my casting out to somebody else that has it worse than me. Mm-hmm. And then that way I will forget that I have difficulties, because if I focus on somebody else's hardships and pour myself into them and let my light shine, then my difficulties seem to just vanish away. So I would just encourage you, if you are down, you have found your light, you are lit up, but maybe it's dim. Change the battery, rejuvenate, and just go back into this world, because your light does matter.
Exactly. Tina, hello to you. Going to be able to see you over there on Facebook as well. Great message, everyone. Great encouragement as well. Again, everyone, for those that are just tuning in, you're watching Words I Choose to Live By here on Amazon Live, but we also are simulcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. This is message number 41 from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. I have it highlighted for you guys on the carousel. Let your light shine. It's a great reminder for all of us. Again, the book's available in paperback, hardcover, as well as a Kindle edition of our books. Ladies, another great segment with you, Dr. Velma. Let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you?
Well, I would suggest that I'm on all social media platforms, but my suggestion would be for you to go to my website, drvelmabagby.com. You'll find a host of brand new products and things that I'm promoting right now. And you'll stay current to things that are coming up in terms of my writing. So please make sure you subscribe at drvelmabagby.com.
All right. Thank you for that. Tina, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Thank you for the opportunity again. And my audience can connect with me on all social media platforms at SeminoleTheBook.com or the West Texas Living Heritage Museum. Can't wait to hear from you. Stay blessed.
Thank you, Tina. And Melissa, what about for you? How can they stay connected with you?
Remember to let your light shine. And when you let your light shine, you encourage us, inspire others to let their light shine as well. You can always connect with us at themelissabanks.com. You can connect our platforms right there, any specials we're running. And you can listen to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, where women share their journeys and encourages you to keep going in spite of the circumstances. That's themelissabanks.com.
All right. Thank you for that, Melissa. Before we go, I have a little bit of housekeeping I want to say. Again, for those who are joining us on Amazon, you guys will be seeing a lot of me this week. However, we have a special show that's coming up tomorrow, another episode of Cyrus Webb and Friends, featuring two of the co-hosts from Words I Choose to Live By, that being Tina Siemens and Dr. Velma Bagby. We'll be welcoming Aubriella Genesis to our broadcast today. I actually discovered Aubriella last month when I was in Los Angeles. She's a part of a new film featuring the one and only Marla Gibbs called Mildred for a Million. She plays the great-granddaughter in that film. We're going to be talking to her tomorrow here on Amazon. Again, that's for Cyrus Webb and Friends, featuring my co-hosts, Tina Siemens and Dr. Velma Bagby, inviting you guys to join us for that. And Tina, Dr. Velma, glad to be able to have you all, of course, for that particular episode as well. Kenneth says, thank you so much for the inspiration. I appreciate that, Kenneth. And again, if you guys are on Amazon, you have not followed us already, make sure you guys click the follow button in this corner or down below to stay connected with all of our programming. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying, thanks so much for joining us for Word That You Live By. We'll see you back here next week. Take care.